Hold on.
Good. Okay, guys, the official agenda for September 22nd, 2020, final budget hearing and special town council Zoom virtual meeting called for 7 p.m. and it is 7:02 p.m. Thank you for everyone being so punctual. A meeting officially called to order. Town clerk, can you call roll, please?
Sorry.
Town clerk,
Mayor Singer,
here.
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Here.
Bernstein,
Here.
Councilmember Luskin,
Here.
Councilmember Mendel.
Here.
Okay, if we could all rise, please. And Chief, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Allegiance to the
of
flag,
America and to the republic for which it stands, one
which
nation,
stands one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice for all.
justice for all. Thank you. Town clerk. Okay. First on the agenda is the adoption of the final millage rate and final budget for the fiscal year 2020 and 2021. First is a resolution of town council. I'm going to read both them in for the record. We'll get a first and a second, then we'll go through the budget, approve the budget, then we'll come back and approve the millage rate. So the first, a resolution of town council adopting the final millage rate for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. I'm going to read the second one, a resolution of town council adopting the final budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. Okay. So first, we're going to go and approve one. Town clerk, can you read D1?
Yes, sir. A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, adopting the final millage rate of the Town of Golden Beach for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020 through September 30th, 2021, pursuant to Florida Statute 200.065 Trim Bill, providing for an effective date.
Okay, I'm going to read that the proposed millage rate, I need a first approval.
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to read the millage rate, town attorney, and then we'll go back to the budget.
Mayor, yes, please go ahead. If you will, why don't you read both sections 1 and sections 2
I will.
of the millage resolution, and then we can open it up to the budget discussion, and then we'll come back to this.
Correct. Thank you.
Great.
The proposed millage rate for the town of Golden Beach for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021, being hereby fixed at the rate of 7.7720 mils, which is $7.7720 per 1,000 of assessed property value within the town of Golden Beach. That rollback rate is 7.688, and the proposed millage rate is 7.7720 mils, which is 4.06% over the rollback rate. The voted debt service millage rate for the fiscal year will be 0.6280 mils. Okay, so with that, I'll open that up for discussion first. Any comments from the council?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any council from any comments from the public?
Mayor, are we on the budget or on the millage?
Just
Well,
the millage rate, and then we're going to go to the budget. We're not going to approve this. We're just going to open it for comments. Now we're going to go back to the budget.
Okay, so you can have, because we read them both together, you can have the conversation together, both as to the budget. You don't have to formally jump back and forth. So the budget certainly is on the table also, as well as the millage. And when we come back, we'll vote on the millage separately, but both items are up for discussion.
Okay, so with that, I'll open, anyone have any comments on the budget? Town council?
Mayor, the staff does have on the page 2 of the memo, there was a scribbler's error on the law enforcement trust fund. The amount should be $249,154, bringing the total funds to $18,657,130. The other thing is, unlike the budget at first reading, Your implementation language also includes the town's manager's memo. One of the differences from the first reading to this reading is that since the time of the first budget hearing, the council has made a decision as it relates to insurance. Since I have legal authority to move money up and down within a department fund, the memo says that we will not transfer funds out of the insurance line. Those funds will stay in the insurance line. So the authority that I had vested through our process is frozen, and those dollars will be reallocated. Rather than go through that process now or try to reprint the books, the memo guarantees the auditors a tool to make sure that we don't move money up and down there. The same thing with the new revenues that you approved at the last meeting. You changed the rate fees. Those dollars will remain allocated for that. And there's another item that you'll be discussing later. But those are the only two changes that were made from the first reading to today's meeting.
Okay, with that, any comments on the budget? Fellow council members?
Yes, I actually have a question, point of clarification actually from the town manager, from what was just said. So the savings from the insurance is not going to be reallocated. I understand that. So it's going to be frozen within those specific line items.
That's
Meaning
correct.
it can't be spent by anyone until there's
A council
any
vote on it.
movement done by the council.
That's correct.
Okay, and are we going to have, when are we going to find out those savings? Is it going to be as soon as open enrollment is closed?
Correct.
Okay, so for next month, there's going to be an amendment to this budget, I guess, that the town's going to bring forward, that the administration is going to be forward.
We typically don't do budget amendments until they're needed. That's why the implementation language says the money will sit in those lines. At the next meeting, what we're going to bring to you is a cleanup amendment for the current fiscal year, not the one that we're going into. So I'd rather not murky the waters at the next meeting.
Okay, no, that's fine. As long as we understand what the savings are by next month, so we can start deciding where we want to allocate it as a council.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Any other comments? With that, I'll close it to the council. Any public comments on the budget? Okay, I'm going to close it to the budget comments. So we're going to go back and we're first going to approve the resolution of the town council adopting the final millage rate for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. Town clerk, can you read it into record, please?
Yes, sir. A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, adopting the final millage rate of the Town of Golden Beach for fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020 through September 2021, pursuant to Florida Statute 200.065 Trim Bill, providing for an effective date.
Okay, since we have an approval in a second, a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, with that, we'll go to item number D2, a resolution of town council adopting the final budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, adopting the final budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020 through September 30th, 2021, pursuant to Florida Statute 200.065 Trim Bill, providing for an effective date.
Okay, with that, we'll do a roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Mayor,
Yes.
I just one if we can just see if there's anybody else who has a comment on this, any member of the public. I just want to confirm, because these virtual meetings are sometimes hard to make sure that we've caught everybody. If anybody in the public wants to speak to this issue, we should. If not, the vote's going to go forward. Go ahead.
Lisette, is everyone off mute in case? Okay,
Yes,
there's
sir.
no comments. Roll call, please.
Great.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bernstein.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, congratulations. Hats off to the town manager, town staff, finance director, Maria Camacho, and everyone for putting together a great budget once again, and keeping the millage rate at the same that it's been for the last 7 years. So congrats. So with that, we'll move on to presentations. There are none. Next item, I'm going to make a motion to direct the town manager in implementing a resolution which was 2694.20, previously adopted, relating to the building processing and permit fees, from raise it to 0.25. That's going to be restricted for technology improvements to the building department. The building department, the fees for building process and permit fees were 0.75. We're going to raise it 0.25 to 1.0, which was approved for last meeting. And this must be approved by the town council.
You need a second? Listen, if you could unmute the council.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hold on.
What? Sorry.
Hold on, Mayor, because listen,
Mayor.
unmute the council.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Yeah.
Tommy.
If I could offer a friendly amendment here, a suggestion. Going through the numbers with Linda Epperson, who's been very helpful throughout the last couple of weeks in my helping me understand exactly how much new revenue we're going to see here. I would like to try to limit this to only new construction, as opposed to everyone in town, current residents who need to get permits for their docks or for a new seawall. So we don't further impose any more, burden on them.
Mayor, if you were to accept that amendment, you as the maker of the motion would have to accept that amendment. If you don't accept the amendment fails. And the motion.
Can we have a discussion first?
You can.
Yeah, Jaime, I understand that, but it's not a big number, and this number 0.75 has been the same for the last, 20 years. And if we're going to do it, my opinion was, I too looked at the number. I think it's a 40. If we did the same amount of building as we did last year, I think it's somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 total increase, which would go to the building department, which could be used. It's not a big number, and I think for simplicity purposes, just my thought is keep it the same for renovations and new construction.
So I actually got a higher number. I got about $83,000.
You're basing it on revenues?
On the revenues from last year pertaining to this fee.
Right. I based it on what the town manager provided to me, which was square footage, because that's what the building processing and the permit fees are based on. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, so just I want to always set the record straight. The mayor's correct. So the process fee is based on value. The permit fees are based on square footage.
Right.
And so there's a discrepancy between the two figures. I mean, we also don't know what the projections are for this year. Let's assume that it's anywhere between 50 and 80. I think irrespective of what that value number is, if what the mayor's proposing is to set that money aside for technology for future technology improvements to the building department, which is what you're recommending, it doesn't come close to, well, it comes close to what we're going to need. Indicative numbers to going paperless and going e-inspections and e-permitting are coming in at about $100,000, $90,000 to $100,000. So either way, whatever the council decides, that the town will definitely.
I think, Alex, when we looked at it last year, the software, and I could be mistaken, the software alone was over $80,000.
That's correct, sir.
So, Jaime, I'm just trying to and if you think about it, it's 0.25 for renovations. You're not talking a big number, but for simplicity purposes, I think it's easier. We just charge the same fee across the board.
But to Jaime's point, what's I think in my opinion, I actually thought we were looking to charge new construction for it. I didn't want to bang. So I would support where he's coming from. I mean, it should be an easy way to make that very clear, and not without losing very much of the revenues based on what you're saying. But I'd prefer not to further increase current homeowners' revenues, tax payments.
Judy, you have any thoughts?
I don't mind doing it for the new construction. I also am very much in favor of modernizing the building department and being able to computerize a lot of the things we're doing now. I think that's important. But I'm not so sure how I feel about remodeling and so on. New homes, I actually, that's what I thought it was to start with, just new homes, and didn't even take into consideration existing homes. So I'd rather just do it with new homes.
Mayor, may we offer something if that's the direction the council seems to be leaning towards? I would recommend to the council, I think the administration could definitely support not having it for remodels of residents that are currently living in town. But if somebody buys a house and remodels it to move in, I think that the fee should apply to them.
Vice Mayor Einstein, your thoughts?
Yeah, could someone just elaborate a little bit, because there's this Town of Golden Beach upfront building department fee comparison at the end of all of our documentation, I think.
That's correct.
That someone, I think, requested. Is this part and parcel? I just want to know where we're at on this whole thing.
Yeah, so the town council,
Councilman Bernstein asked for that we sort of table this until this no, yes, maybe.
yeah, so the rules call for the first order of business for the business meeting. Should there be a motion to reconsider last week's item? So last week you approved the fee to be at 1%. Councilman Rendell asked for us to do a study to determine whether or not that was an appropriate fee. The mayor this evening, to avoid a motion to reconsider, recommended a motion directing the staff on how to implement that item. We were trying to not do a reconsideration of the item. And so the mayor made his motion. Councilman Rendell says, look, I may agree with that motion. However, I want to exclude renovations and additions. The mayor can say, no, I don't accept your friendly amendment, and you take a vote on the mayor's position. Then someone can make a motion for reconsideration. If no motion for reconsideration is introduced, then the item stands as passed last week.
Okay, so with that being said, could we just draw our attention to the
Comparison?
on the top, for lack of a better term, it says Town of Golden Beach upfront building department fee comparison.
Yes, sir.
Just so I want to compare apples to apples. Should I understand this?
Ben, what
for
page
this-
is that?
What, I'm sorry?
What page is that?
It's the last,
It's the very
last page on the agenda item.
Very last
got it.
page, Ken.
Got it. I'm sorry. Found it.
No problem. So if I'm looking at this right, everything on the right for Golden Beach basically stays the same. This is what our proposal is, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So Bal Harbor, right now, the surrounding community, for the very same house, they charge $50,000 to build a new construction, right?
Yes.
And we charge $74,000. We will be, if we pass this amendment.
No,
We will
no. You already enacted this fee. You have already adopted this fee. The question at hand, should the mayor's motion fails, you can reconsider the fee. However, you have already enacted this fee. What the mayor's trying to do to try to bring some consensus on the council is provide a motion that directs the administration on how to apply this fee.
And
Okay.
I'm open for, just so everyone knows, I'm open for suggestions. It's not edged in stone. So going back
I'm just curious, because here they directed you to go find out what the fees were for, I guess I was a little, I didn't quite understand it. It doesn't matter. It looks like Indian Creek charges $120,000. Under what you're saying we adopted, we are charging now $74,000 for that same house to be built. And Bal Harbor charges, or
Less.
Bay Harbor rather, charges $120,000 And we're going to charge 74,000 for that same house now, correct?
That's
Correct.
correct.
Interesting that Bal Harbor charges less than Bay Harbor.
Well,
I
it's the
find
number
that,
of units that they have. Don't forget, by state law, the building department cannot collect revenues in excess of what it costs to fund the department and the administrative overhead that costs to manage that department. So you can't use your building department as a way to make excess revenues. And because they have a larger volume of stock to share the cost of running the building department, I think that's why Bal Harbor has a smaller number. When you look at Bay Harbor Island, I'm a little bit shocked by their number, but they have a lot more full-time building department staff members and inspectors on their staff compared to us. And in Indian Creek, of course, it's obvious there's only 33 lots there to charge that fee to.
Well, Bay Harbor only has 33 lots?
No, Indian Creek, sir. That's why it's almost double.
Oh, Indian Creek. Yeah, okay.
So,
So if
I'm
I
not
could
against-
clear up,
What's that?
sorry about that. So if I could just clear up, because the last thing I want to do is cause unnecessary confusion. Yeah, so Councilman Einstein's right. I asked for that study. I've gone over it. I've gone over it with the administration. I've gone over it with Linda Epperson, who's been very helpful on this. And I've made peace with what was proposed last week. What we should be seeing if things are the same this year as they are as they were last year is about $83,000 in new revenue. Of that, I'm assuming the vast majority comes from new construction because that value seems pretty high for it to be remodels and new docks and new seawalls. So the only thing I'm proposing is that. Sorry.
May I interrupt real quick?
Sure.
The challenge, Councilman Mandel, that I'm having with the renovation part is because of the number of homes that we have seen change hands in the last 2 months, right? I understand that you're trying to help our residents that are here, right? But if someone's buying an older home and they're going to gut it and remodel it, right? The administration believes that fee should be passed on to those buyers that are renovating. I understand wanting to help those residents that currently live in Golden Beach, therefore they shouldn't be charged for the renovation. But if I just bought a house and I'm going to spend $5 million renovating it, I think there should be some distinction there between those.
I don't disagree with you. I'm sorry, it's my terminology. When I say new construction, I do mean both people tearing down homes and rebuilding, as well as what you're saying, which is completely gutting a home and remodeling. When I refer to that, that's what I mean, essentially.
And Alex, I would support what you're suggesting, Alex. So
Yeah, I agree that, yeah. So,
Councilman Mandel, would you amend your amendment to just basically implement what I just described? And Mayor,
Exactly, yes.
And Mayor, would you accept that?
yes, but let's just, for the record, clarify that because Steve looks a little confused. So, Councilman Mandel, you want to repeat what you were proposing?
You know what? So Steve is perfectly comfortable with this. I'm going to let Alex explain
So,
because he has it.
so
Here's my concern. We have a fee schedule. We've adopted it.
Yes.
Okay, that is the fee schedule. I'm not quite sure I understand the concept of how we're going to apply it differently to residents and non-residents and renovation.
we do that now.
I can articulate it, Steve. Steve, you want me to articulate it?
I think I get it. I think what you're saying is if a resident comes in and does a $5 million renovation, he shouldn't pay the same fee as a new person coming in and doing a $5 million.
arbitrary and capricious.
I mean, I don't know the difference between a new resident doing $5 million worth of work and a current resident doing $5 million.
Yeah, it's an arbitrary and capricious application of the law.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I just want to make sure that if what we're trying to do is sort of vest the current residents that live there with a different fee schedule, then I'm not sure you can do that by implementation. I think we have to set that in the code and have a justification for why we're doing it. I don't think it's a question of implementation. If somebody picks up our schedule and they calculate the fee, and it comes up to $5 million, and you say, oh yeah, but you live here, so we're only going to charge you $2.5 million. It has to relate to the service that we're providing. It's the same amount of service. It doesn't really matter. We work just as hard for the resident as we do for the non-resident.
Just so you know, our fee structure today
Yes.
does have varied fees depending on whether you live in town or you don't.
Show us where, Alex.
On the curb and gutters, on the curb and gutter fee and the sidewalk fee. There's a fee for renovation, and there's a fee for renovation and a fee for the new construction.
Right, but that doesn't mean if you live in Golden Beach or you're not in Golden Beach, you're paying a different fee. If you're renovating, you're paying the same fee whether you just moved here or not. That's not true.
Well, we don't ask people when they come in, well, are you a resident or you are not a resident, and then base our curb and gutter fee based upon that.
Well, ask Alex.
I need to confer with staff. Linda, don't we waive that? Isn't that fee? Didn't the council tell us that that only applies to the scope of the work that's being done on the property? And if the scope of the work that's being done on the property does not meet a manager's threshold to apply the fee, we don't charge the fee?
We don't charge, let me see if I can make it easier. We don't charge the fee for docks and seawalls. We only charge the fee for remodel, new construction, and additions. So there's a different fee.
No. This council, when it enacted the sidewalk, curb, and gutter fee,
Yes.
right, through your direction to the administration on how and who should pay that fee, you directed that the manager's office is in charge to determine whether the scope of the work warrants that fee to be charged to a current resident. So, and in fact, what your direction was to me, if somebody's coming in with a simple kitchen remodel, right?
Yes.
You shouldn't charge that fee. That's exactly how that was done.
Yeah. Yes, he's correct.
I've
The
been
manager's
long
correct.
enough to know that this council
But if a
does
developer,
residents different than what you treat non-residents as a.
okay, well, that may be, but so if a developer wants to renovate a kitchen, he has to pay the fee?
It's up to the manager. The council delegated that determination to the manager's office through your fee structure. That's how it's done today. We've been doing it since we passed that fee 6 years ago.
So I'll submit that we may have done that, but if I was sitting in a developer's seat, I think it could be subject to constitutional attack. And there's another part of it in terms of what constitutes a resident. Am I a resident? If I live in South America, but I have a vacation home here that I come visit for 1 month a year, does that qualify me as a resident? Do I have to file homestead on the house? Do I have to be?
Can I make a suggestion here?
Yeah.
So can we just put something like if it's new construction or if you're remodeling to the point, if you're remodeling and the remodel has a value of more than, let's say, 50% of your current assessed value of the home, because that's a whole new remodel. That's a whole new home.
Well, you and I spoke about that earlier today, Councilman Mandel.
Right.
Don't forget the 50% threshold applies to FEMA and zoning. So
Right, but can we apply to this specific fee just to get?
It
I guess
does.
we could. I mean, the mayor would have to. The mayor would have to. I guess we could.
So that there's no confusion here, so that small things like putting up a dock or remodeling a simple kitchen isn't going to be dragged into the same fee structure as a new construction or whole remodel.
Think about the dollar implication. If you're talking about a remodel a kitchen and say it's $100,000, okay? Now, Linda, help me through this. If it's $100,000, okay?
Let me get my calculator out.
Alex, am I correct? $2,500?
Linda's the fee person.
Hold on. I have to get my
Alex, I just
calculator.
want to understand something. Before we used to charge 0.75%, right?
Right.
Correct?
We've already adopted 1.0.
Okay, but before it was 0.75, right?
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it's correct,
Okay,
because when you look at your chart now, on this last page, you go 0.0075.
Yes, yes, that's because the decimal point drops in the right place. It's $750 on $100,000.
Yeah,
If
so
you do the one, if you do the 1%, it's $1,000.
Yeah,
It's
so-
$250 more.
it's 250, guys, it's $250 on difference on a $100,000 renovation. For simplicity purposes, I say we stick to the original adoption and keep it for everybody.
So you do not accept the friendly amendment.
What's that?
So then you do not accept the friendly
Yeah, I
amendment.
mean, we're talking $250, the headache of going
Per
through it
100,000.
on a 100,000 renovation, right? So
Okay.
for
What-
simplicity purposes, I say we keep it the way it is.
What is
Fine.
the, Alex, what is the current fees for so the current fee structure applies to all permits equally right now?
Yes, so what we gave you was an indicative example of, remember, all of our fees are different. The way they're calculated are different because you don't have the square footage on like electrical and the master and the HC. So this applies to the processing fee and the master permit fee.
So we're not talking a big amount. I mean, $100,000 is less than $1,000 change.
So it's 0.0075. The permit fee is going to be 0.0075. If someone does it,
You've already enacted, hold on, guys, members of the council, excuse me.
I'm just trying to get clarification. I'm sorry, Alex.
I'm sorry?
I'm just trying to get a clarification. If someone does a kitchen renovation for 100,000,
And hold on, guys. Let me talk, Alex. On a $100,000 renovation, the difference from 0.75 to 1.0, you're talking about $250. That's the difference in fee.
but I'm just asking, I'm trying to get a clarification, Glenn. So right now, currently, if someone does a kitchen renovation, they would be charged,
It'd be 1.0.
no, before this enactment, before
It'd
what
be
we,
0.75.
0.75.
$750. So we're talking about $250 on a $100,000 renovation. Guys, just the mental stress of it, it's just easier if we keep it the way it's originally adopted.
I tend to agree with the mayor, just so we have an objective standard, and if it's not such nominal amounts and it's only 25% increase on something that's already pretty small, I'm okay with that. I mean, you okay?
No, so to be very straightforward here, I could have lived with. Obviously, I voted I voted against the fee structure last time, so I can't make any motion to rescind or anything like that. But I could have lived with that increase. I was very much in favor of specifically putting that money towards giving the building department the resources it needs, the technological advancements that we needed to have for it to work even more efficiently. But when the reason I asked the building department and the administration to do that analysis that you see at the end is to see exactly what that increase entails. As we're seeing, it entails about $10,000 additional dollars on a $4 million home. What you don't see there, yes, we're above Bell Harbor, we're below Bay Harbor, we're below Indian Creek. What you don't see there is the millage rate. We just adopted a millage rate that is the second highest in Miami-Dade. When you take that into consideration, the break even, we catch up to Indian Creek and Bay Harbor very, very quickly within the year. So for me to keep adding additional burdens to the residents, I personally, there has to be a line drawn somewhere.
Right, but it's not a burden to the residents because the residents aren't paying it. It's doing renovations, and renovations cost the town money. I mean, our budget, you see our budget, our costs increase every year, not just the building department, but if you go back to the health insurance, if you go back to, operating costs, our costs go up every year, and we try to stay above the curve, and it's going to get to the point where our costs are going to almost exceed our revenues. So by doing this, we're building, we're trying to stay ahead technology-wise. We're allocating this money for technology improvement to the building department to streamline everything so we can reduce costs in the future so we don't have to hire 3 different Lindas. We could keep one Linda and use technology. And I think it's imperative that we think out of the box and ahead of the schedule. I mean, it's not a big number, but I think, Golden Beach is a prestigious community. In fact, yesterday, Alex will tell you, I did an interview with the New York Times, okay? They did a study, a Harvard Business School, and the New York Times is going to write a big article on talking about sea rise and talking about elite communities. The writer of the New York Times called me knowing in New York, he's never been, believe it or not, to Golden Beach, doesn't know, but he knows Golden Beach has a reputation of being one of the most pristine, elite communities in the country. That was his exact words. And he was asking me, one of his questions was, what are you guys doing to, stay ahead of the ball game regarding your operating costs and sea rise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, it was a feather in our cap that he acknowledged Golden Beach as an elite and prestigious community. And I think we need to stay that way. By staying that way, yeah, it's expensive to build in Golden Beach, but we're a unique community. We're probably the most prestigious community in the state of Florida beside Palm Beach.
Mayor, with that, so you are not accepting the friendly amendment. You still would want implementing language as it relates to how do we set aside those fees. So your original motion stands. It was seconded. Does the person who seconded the motion withdraw the second?
I'm sorry, can I just get a clarification with Jaime? Jaime, I thought you were okay with everything except for the change you proposed was simply for existing homeowners for that not to apply to them. As we're seeing, all this is on $100,000 change is $250. And the issue that the attorneys laid out is that it's hard to charge this fee unless you have an objective standard. So when you look at all we're talking about right now for existing homeowners is an extra $250. That's the only difference of what you propose versus what the mayor's proposing right now. As I understand.
250,000 per 100,000.
No, to be fair, the difference is I didn't want the fee to begin with. So the difference is about 25 basis points on the whole value of all construction. So that's the difference.
Well, I'm sorry. Where you were a half an hour ago when we first started this.
Yeah. Yes, that I could swallow with, without putting additional burdens on the taxpayers. But on our specific residents, we do got to move on at some point. I send my piece. You guys understand my point of view. And I do respect the mayor's point of view. Building here in Golden Beach is expensive. Our costs are expensive. I understand. We're a small community. I just, in this particular point, I do disagree with that. I do wholeheartedly agree, and this is something I mentioned to the town manager earlier this week, which is what the mayor actually proposed, which is to spend the money that I that I personally didn't want to see an increase on, the new revenue, on technological advances within the building department. So I'm very excited to see that happen. But at the same time, it's a little bittersweet. But I think at this point we should move on because we might be stuck here for a while if not.
Okay, so if the second doesn't withdraw, the motion is ready to be called, and therefore a vote could be taken.
Town clerk, please. Town clerk.
Sorry, Mayor Singer,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Rendell,
No.
Councilmember Bernstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin.
Yes.
Perfect. And Jaime, just so you understand, the allocation will be used for technology advancement.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. That's great.
Yeah. So with that, I'll move to motion to set the agenda.
Sorry, Mayor, just one very quick clarification. Every year, that 25 basis points would be allocated towards technological advancements, or how's that going to work?
So each year when you set the fees, you'll research that. You'll structure it. And what we'll do next year when we set the street fees is actually have it a part of your language.
Perfect.
Everyone good with that? Perfect. Next, excuse me, is motion to set the agenda. Any additions, deletions, removal of items from the consent agenda or changes to the agenda? I have none. Fellow council members?
None.
None.
Town staff?
There
Town
was a
manager?
substitute memo that was on the website providing with the backup for the resolution number
2702.
2702. It was provided to you on Monday.
Okay, town staff, any other changes?
Nope.
Okay, with that, we're gonna move to good and welfare. With that, I'm gonna ask town clerk, is there any emails or letters to town good and welfare first, and I'll open up to the public.
Yes, sir. There is a letter to be read into the record from Al and Dagmara Peruas, 645 Golden Beach Drive. Please read during good and welfare. Dear council, staff, and residents, unfortunately, we will be traveling the day of the meeting. We are requesting of the council to consider allowing the installation of political signage on the lawn and property for a period not to exceed 2 months before the presidential election. We do not know the best way for the council to enact this request, but we'll appreciate your consideration. Approximately a month ago, we placed a political sign inside my house window, and the next morning I received a call from the director of the building department, Linda Epperson, that I had to remove it immediately, which we did. I do not have to stress the importance of the national election.
Okay, with that, any from the public, town clerk, please unmute everybody. Any from the public would like to speak good and welfare? Lisette, everyone's unmuted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that, we'll move on. I'm going to close good and welfare. Next is mayor's report. First of all, I want to commend once again the town's manager and the staff for doing a phenomenal job on the budget. The budget booklet itself, in my opinion, was the most professional prepared budget that we've ever done for the town of Golden Beach. And it's amazing how our budget has increased dramatically over the years, both on the revenue side and the expense side, like I said before. But I think we're doing a great job of maintaining our expenses, controlling our expenses, and at the same time, being very realistic about our revenues currently and in the future. So my hat's off to you guys. Have done an amazing job. So thank you. That's for all the department heads, Linda, Maria, Kurt, everybody. Great job. Michael, excellent job. The other thing I have to mention is I know everyone's concerned about the flooding. I'm aware of it. The town manager's aware of it. The town staff's aware of it. I can tell you right now, just from living in Golden Beach, I've been living here for over 20 years. The water level above the seawall is the highest I've ever seen in all my years living here. And I can tell you right now, based on the conversation I had yesterday with the New York Times and the Harvard Business School, they're anticipating it to only get worse. So one thing that I've instructed the town manager, and we've had a discussion today, is to look at which seawalls are not maintaining the proper height and are causing an addition burden to the influx of water. And the town manager has, I had a conversation a few hours ago, and he acknowledges like 35 homes that the seawall could not be in compliance with. So I can tell you right now for the residents that if you've got an issue with the seawall, you need to address it immediately, because it's not only affecting your yard and your neighbors, but the whole town in general. So I know the pumps have been on. I know the town manager, I asked him to address it in his manager's report, but we are aware of it. And again, it's a reflection of sea rise. And like I said, it's not going to get better. So we need to do whatever it takes to control it and maintain it and to preserve our values of the residents and our properties. So that's basically all I have said. And Alex, please address when you're on the manager's report what we're doing for Halloween, because I'm not even 100% sure what we're doing for Halloween. So with that, that's all I have to say. So first, town manager, can you give us a coronavirus update?
Sure, Mayor, this afternoon, all the homes in town should have received their next round of COVID kits that were delivered to the homes. Since the last report, we've only had 3 new cases of COVID identified to the town from the Department of Health. As you know, the school board today voted to extend the first day of opening schools in Dade County to the 21st of October. We are still allowing some of our staff to work remotely should they have childcare issues. The police department continues to monitor all of the changes from the county. As you know, the county mayor extended curfew to 11 p.m. Curfew is now from 11 p.m. until 6 a.m. He has loosened some of the regulations as it relates to group gatherings and sports. We've implemented those changes in town. Just like to remind everyone that the cases seem to be climbing in the state and in all of the neighboring states of the country. As we enter flu season, we need to make sure that everyone continues to follow proper mask protocols and hygiene. And as a reminder, when you are outside and walking in Golden Beach, if you do not have a mask on, you are going to be strongly encouraged to put one on. The beach is still closed to unaccompanied guests. All guests have to be accompanied. The next round of COVID kits will go out sometime in December to our residents.
Alex, before I turn over the comments, one other thing I want to mention on the manners report, which we had that discussion today. Please monitor and have the police department monitor the construction sites, because like I saw today, there was one construction site in particular that no one was wearing the mask. So,
Chief, we'll make sure that we get stricter on that at the construction site. Thank you, sir.
okay, with that, I'm going to open up to council comments. First, Vice Mayor Einstein. Ben.
Yeah, no comment, except for, the water problem in town. I agree with the seawalls. I know we enacted a code where we said they had to be a certain height a number of years ago. I don't know what we can do to increase that further on the residents and, enforce it. I know we're working on a couple of situations right now. I'd like to resolve them. And that's it. No further comment. Great job on the budget.
Thank you. Councilman Bernstein.
Alex, everyone, staff, great job with the budget. I know this is very difficult, and especially getting it finalized, fantastic job. I wasn't sure what our policy is with the request from Al about political signs. Because I do notice that during our Aventura elections, we have political signs. So I just wasn't sure where we are with that. And I had a question about the budget, about the bonuses, but I can wait till the bonuses.
Councilman Mandel.
Thank you. So I want to wish all the residents and staff who celebrate the Jewish New Year a Happy New Year, Happy and Healthy New Year, as well as the council. With that, I want to thank the Golden Beach Police Department for being extra vigilant this weekend over the holidays, and as I'm sure you're going to be next weekend for Yom Kippur, making sure that the residents walking back and forth from either shul or from minyans in their neighbors' homes are safe and sound. And as the mayor and vice mayor and Councilman Bernstein said, the water issues, I have seen, I'm glad you addressed that. And I have seen a lot of, obviously today was a big flooding day, but once the tide started going down, I did see a lot of rushing water coming from very specific areas. And some of those areas do have new seawalls. So I was a little concerned there as to where the water could be coming from. But I'll give the town manager a little bit more specifics on that after the meeting so we can look into that. And lastly, I want to thank the town administration, the manager, as well as the council for considering a resolution on tonight's agenda, on the consent agenda, which adopts the internationally recognized, almost internationally recognized definition on anti-Semitism. So I want to thank everyone for the consideration on that. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilwoman Luskin.
Just in regards to the flooding, if perhaps maybe at the guard gate or in some way or another, the UPS, the FedEx trucks, they go barreling. down the street during floods. Residents know, they're very good about it. They go slow, but it causes an actual wake up people's driveways. So maybe we can just put a little sign out by the gate to help with that. And then Alex, great job on the budget. Great job with keeping the town clean and looking beautiful. I know you have a lot on your plate, but in the swale, the coconut palms, it's been windy, and I mean, by the time you get done cutting them all, they're growing again. So I think you just got to take a look at maybe just getting through some homes or some swale areas just to get some of them down. And that's it for me.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to the town manager's report.
Sure, Mayor, members of the council. First, let me just thank our staff for their work, not only during the budget process, but last week, and be so cooperative with the health insurance discussion. Lisette Perez, our town clerk, has been working with me around the clock on both budget, healthcare issues, and it goes without saying that she is who I lean on the most to get us through these long nights. So Lisette, thank you. To the rest of the directors, Rudy, Maria, Ken, Kirk, Michael, and Linda, it goes without saying that you guys are stellar in your efforts, and I would not be successful if it was not for all of the work that you do to help get where we are. So thank you for that. As it relates to announcements, let me go through a few of the announcements that are important for the community to know, and then we'll deal with the flooding issues. The first is that on Saturday, October 10th, the Department of Motor Vehicles will be in town issuing driver's license. They are by appointment only. So if you know someone who in town needs their driver's license renewed, please reach out to the police department. Chief Herbello, thank you for organizing that. On October 17th, there will be a virtual painting class offered to our residents. We have to provide you with the painting stuff, so make sure that you register with Michael Glidden, our resident services director. As always, the town elections are going to be held next February. The qualifying period is at the end of the year. Make sure that you're interested, that you meet with Lisette Perez, our town clerk, for more information as it relates to the town elections. Mosquitoes, we ask all residents and council to get the word out that the mosquito-borne illnesses are growing in South Florida, and so please treat standing water. I'd like to thank Kirk McCoy for providing our residents with chlorine tablets to help with stagnant water. As it relates to political signs, we will look at our enforcement efforts to make sure that we are consistent with the application of our code. The October Town Council meeting is scheduled for October 20th. And I'd like to remind our residents that October 20th is the Town Council meeting. We don't know if it'll be virtual or not. Steve Huffman, our town attorney, thank you for looking into that matter for us. Mayor, to answer your question as it relates to Halloween, this year, Halloween falls on a Saturday. We have it on good words that there will be a order from the county mayor not allowing trick-or-treating to occur. So here's what we're doing in Golden Beach. There is a virtual costume contest. Michael Glidden, our resident service director, put an ad in the newsletter. All of our homes will be receiving a care basket, providing all of our youth with Halloween treats and all of our adults with Halloween something else. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I don't want to ruin the surprise. But those will be delivered to all the homes on Friday, the 30th, so they can use for the 31st. There is no large group gathering that will be allowed. The town's events are going to be virtual. There's a virtual costume contest, and then we're providing all of our homes with some treats. There will be extra police on hand at the beach to make sure, and throughout the town, to make sure that no one's coming into our community going door to door, as that is going to be prohibited as it relates to trick-or-treating. Also, Chief Herbello has been working on a plan to make sure that we have proper police staffing as the current political climate and the current climate of our nation continues to turn. A lot of our residents have expressed some concerns to ensure that we're ready to handle anything that may come our way. And so just know that we do have extra police staffing called for during peak times that we believe that there may be civil unrest or unrest in South Florida or throughout the country. And so Chief Herbello has put together a great ops plan to get that done. So know that. As it relates to flooding, as you know, Ms. Epperson has been working on these flooding issues with our homeowners that have deteriorated seawalls. And for the past couple of years, we've kind of have given our residents the benefit of the doubt. Today's flooding is 100% attributed to homes where water was seeping through either cracks in the seawall or cracks in between seawall caps. So tomorrow and this week, the Code Enforcement Department, under the direction of Chief Rebello, will be sending out a notice to all the homes asking them to come into compliance. We're going to give every home until February of next year to address the seepage that is occurring. If by February of next year, those homes have not taken the necessary steps to correct the water infiltration that we're having, we're going to ask the town's attorney to assist us with getting a little bit more enforcement. I can tell you that on the north side of town, north of Navona, so near Singer Park, all of that flooding is coming through the walls. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a crew of 8 people inspecting all of our outfalls to make sure that we're not having any water come through those areas. We did have a pump station issue today in South Park. The town's engineers will be on hand tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., ensuring that during the king tides that we are expecting tomorrow that they operate. As a reminder, the October king tides are expected to be higher than the September king tides. And then in November, a schedule of our king tides are on our town's website. And we do ask all residents to be mindful that there are waters on our street during king tides, but immediately after the tides go down, so do the waters. And I want to thank Kirk McCoy, who is on the call, for the efforts that the Public Works team is doing in keeping our community clean. And then also, the last thing is, like I mentioned earlier, typically at this meeting, we have a budget amendment. Ms. Camacho, thank you for working on getting that amendment prepared for the council, and thank you for your work with the budget. At the next meeting, council members and mayor will be bringing you the cleanup item. I think I've mentioned that.
Alex, one thing you did forget, October 20th is our groundbreaking ceremony.
I was just going to get there. And that October 20th at 10 a.m. is the groundbreaking ceremony, COVID-safe groundbreaking ceremony that Mr. Glidden's putting together. We have invited all the dignitaries from the neighboring communities to join us. All council members are asked to join us. It's at 10 a.m. at the basketball courts, the future home of our Civic Center. Let me just roll into. All right, that's it. That's.
Andrew, you know, sorry, I forgot one quick thing. The beach, with all the rain and with the inclement weather that we've been having and the winds, there's been a lot more trash on the beach. I don't know what we're doing, if we're doing anything specifically to try to clean that up a little. I've seen this morning specifically, I saw a lot of bulky items, large piles of wood, some trash cans. I have no idea how they got there all along Golden Beach.
Yeah, so typically on Wednesdays, we have the beach is staffed by 3 individuals. And so on Wednesdays is when we do our boat beach cleaning. But every day they do the light bottles and bags that may wash ashore. Kirk, just make sure that tomorrow we have the backhoe out there to help them as needed. But we'll patrol that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll move to the town.
Mayor, I'm not done. And I also just, in closing, would like to thank the town council for their support in putting together the budget. The budget was an effort by both our elected officials and our town staff in consultation with our residents. I'm glad that throughout the last 14 years, you have trusted me and our team to guide us through this process. So thank you for your vote of confidence, your unanimous vote of confidence tonight on the millage and the budget. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Town attorney, do you have any comments?
No comments, no reports.
Okay, with that, we'll move to item letter number M, ordinance's second reading. There are none. Item number N, ordinance's first reading. There are none. Quasi-judicial resolution. There are none. Item number P, Civic Center Complex Master Plan update. Town manager, you have any comments?
Sure. So Mayor, so we received this morning the 75% plans. I'm having them blown up in large format so we can have them in the town council chambers for everyone to review. We are at the 75% stage. Our civil plans are finally ready for Durham review. And like the mayor mentioned, we are going to be having a groundbreaking ceremony on the 20th. My goal is once we get to 90%, we'll bring you those set at the council meeting just so you to see where we are, and also a materials board. There have been some changes as it relates to layout of the building. All of those changes have been in consultation with the mayor. We're just wanting to maximize the allocation of space within the building. I can tell you that that the project is on schedule, and we're hoping that we're going to have a successful groundbreaking, and we'll start to see some work getting the site ready for the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. With that, we're going to move to the consent agenda. There's one item, a resolution of Town Council adopting the International Holocaust Remember Alliance Working Definition Anti-Semitism. That is the one item on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Mandel, for that. Item number R, resolution, number R4, resolution of Town Council awarding employee bonuses. Town Clerk, can you read that, please?
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, awarding employee bonuses, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Basically, there's a schedule in your package regarding the bonuses, the total amount.
Mayor, the total amount is
Is-
93,000. Sorry, I have it here on my screen. Let me pull it up real quick. It's $93,650 as indicated in the agenda that was posted on the town's website and provided to the council earlier in the week. That comes from our contingency account, and we only give bonuses, as you know, if we are projecting a year-end saving for non-recurring. Again, that's non-recurring savings from the current fiscal year, not the future fiscal year.
So with that, only comment I have is I think the bonuses that are allocated to the employees are extremely fair. Our employees did a phenomenal job throughout the year, and I think all the employees rose to the occasion during the Corona situation, which started in February. I mean, from the police department to the public works to the town administration, did a phenomenal job. The town manager, I mean, I could tell you that from, I guess, the end of February to middle of June, I personally had 3 calls a week with fellow town mayors, and that was one call. And then I had the League City twice a week. And the town manager was probably one of 3 of the only managers. And these were mayors from every city, from Homestead all the way up to the Dade Broward line, which is obviously Golden Beach and Aventura, was one of the only managers that were on every single call. The town manager came in during the peak of the coronavirus, to make sure that our staff was properly protected, made sure that our residents were properly protected. I think I've talked to him during the coronavirus pandemic probably 4 or 5 times a year. A day. No matter what time I called him, he'd pick up his phone. I mean, we're very fortunate to have not only a great town manager, but all the department heads that we do. One thing that I think sets Golden Beach aside from other communities, if you look at the longevity of our employees, we have, knock wood, very, very little turnover. And I think we treat our employees extremely well. I think this bonuses, go to the employees and show the employees how important and how much we love our employees and how important the employees are to us. I mean, again, from the police department to public works, the pandemic is a perfect time to judge and evaluate your employees. And I think our employees rose to the occasion. And I can't thank you guys enough for what you have done to protect the residents of Golden Beach, the employees of Golden Beach, not only from the pandemic, but also the safety of the residents and the employees. From the times we had blocked off A1A, blocked off the sidewalk, test the amount of tests that we did to our residents, to the town council, to the fellow employees. I think we really, really controlled a crazy pandemic as best as we could. And I think we would not have done it without the leadership of the town manager and the leadership of the town employees. So from the bottom of my heart, not only do you guys deserve the bonuses, but you deserve the words of appreciation. So from me to you guys, and I know the council feels the same way I do, thank you, and thank you very much. And with that, I'll open up to the town council for any comments.
I have a comment. I was just, when I would look at it, I realized it's been an incredibly difficult year. I think that the employees deserve it. This has been remarkable how well this town has operated during all this. I did notice that some people were not getting the same, were getting lower bonuses from last year. And I just wasn't sure, some very key people who have been leading the town, and I just wasn't sure why they're not all at least getting the same bonuses as the year before.
That's easy to answer, sir. So each year, the amount that we set aside for bonuses are determined by the mayor and I. Some years, like 2 years ago, it's actually a lot higher than the year that you were looking at. That structure doesn't indicate one to the next. Our bonuses are determined by a series of things. This year in particular was their devotion during COVID. What type of offsets are they going to have with their spending costs for the coming year? And so we don't measure bonuses from year to year. They're one-time recurring. They're only administered if there's a savings to the budget that year. And so the mayor and I set aside an allocation. We then look and see how we're going to distribute that allocation among our directors. If you notice, typically what we do is if an employee falls within a class, so directors are typically given the same amount, except for those directors that go above and beyond what's expected of them as a director. Police officers are given a certain amount, except for, this year we gave a higher amount because of the level of involvement for police during COVID. I recommended to the mayor that, in my opinion, our public works staff this year had more exposure to them as it relates to COVID. They were going house to house getting garbage, and that's why I felt that a public works director should receive the same value as a police officer because of the exposure.
I'm sorry, Alex. There's no one who I'm looking to decrease. I'm only looking to increase certain people. Like when I look at department heads,
Ken,
that's my question on department heads.
Okay,
why aren't department heads not at least making what they made the year before? That's all.
Because we don't carry those numbers from year to year. So we set an amount per category, and if they meet the threshold to get the category amount, that's what they get. So all of our directors all get the same value, right? Except for those directors that the mayor and I felt gave us just a little bit more than the other directors.
I mean, I guess for me personally, I wouldn't mind trying to find an extra $5,000 or $10,000 to get our department heads whose departments have increased and get them some extra.
And one thing I have to
say, my opinion, no one has to do it. I'm just saying.
Right, but one thing that the manager and I do is, especially the manager, he's here day to day the operations, and based on that is what we do on the bonuses. Again, you're not involved in the day to day operations, so it depends on the situation. I think we allocated the bonuses the proper amount for the proper people.
I just want to go for the record. I'll never turn away more money to give to our directors. So if that's what the council member wants to offer, we'll gladly accept it. And the mayor and I will sit down on how to distribute that if that's the wish of the council.
That would be my recommendation.
Any other council comments?
Yes.
Go on, Councilman, Vice Mayor.
So in going over, Alex had mentioned something about there was not going to be a merit increase, and I'd just like for him to elaborate on that. And I think there's a couple things going on here, and I'd like for him to elaborate just because for the public and for better understanding for everybody. Yes, we did have some trying times. Yes, I believe that police, public works, were noticeable. I know Alex did work, things like that. I also believe that during this time, there was some downtime for some of the departments where they possibly, and you're going to have to tell us, I'd like it to be in the public so that we know, you know, was there downtime during some of this stuff where people, you know, they didn't report, I mean, they still don't necessarily report to town hall, but were they reporting to you? How did that all work out? And did that work into your bonus schedule? I mean, did people sometimes work 4 hours a day?
It did.
Or 2 hours a day, or 1 hour a day?
So a couple of things. So we are probably the only city in the entire country, and I can speak with authority on this because I've actually lectured at the International City Managers Conference 4 times on this subject matter. So when I got hired in 2007, I immediately did away with merit-based increases to our employees. Our employees are only afforded a cost of living increase and not a merit increase. In most cities, you get both. You get a merit and a cost of living. This year, we decided that we were not going to give a cost of living because the cost of living did not increase in Dade County, and therefore a cost of living increase to our general employees was not warranted. And because we did away with merit increases in 2007, nobody gets a merit increase. So what we substituted merit increases with was performance-based bonuses. So each year, should we have a budget savings that are non-recurring, non-pensionable items, we give our employees a bonus to say, thank you, you would have normally earned a merit, but we give it to you as a one-time non-pensionable. The reason you have garbage sanitation workers in other cities making $140,000 a year is because the merit and the cost of living compounds annually. So we did away with merit increases. And so each year, the mayor and I sit down and determine what level of funding we're going to give to each classification, and then determine whether the employees received or earned that value. And so this year, the vice mayor is correct. We did look at the performance of our employees. We decided that those employees that did not have as much exposure or as much risk and maybe weren't giving us that 100% all the time like the directors, they didn't rise to the level of earning, let's say, what we gave our police and sanitation workers. And so for our police and sanitation workers, we gave them a $1,000 bonus, and for our directors, a $2,000 bonus. With the exception of a few employees that went that extra mile when we called them at 2 a.m. to draft an emergency order, or we called them because there was a house that was having people there and we needed them to come in, whether they went with me to do COVID testing inside of someone's houses. We looked at those employees and we decided to give them just a little bit more. But that's how our bonus structures came to be. In most cities, they don't do bonuses. They give a 5% compounded merit increase for doing a good year, year after year.
So I guess what I need to ask though is, was there some situations, and I don't want to say it was a bonus, but you know, this is trying times financially for the entire country, and residents of Golden Beach who are taxpayers, and you know, we may have some people who pay the real terms, you know, when they look at the budget, they say, hey, you know what? I had a tough time in my business, yet this is how you are treating your services. And I understand it. And in terms of the maintenance people in town, in terms of police people who I saw around town, if you're telling me, and if I understand this correctly, the maintenance person, I'm just using an example, if they earned $10,000 last year, they're only earning $10,000 this year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Outside of this bonus?
This bonus is a recognition for their efforts during this current fiscal year.
Okay, so in terms of the maintenance people, and you will be well aware of who they are, I would absolutely feel that during COVID, because they were the most exposed, in my opinion, if there is more money to be able to give them, I would suggest that we do that, because they're not going to get increased pay. If you feel, you know, I don't know if that normally, you know, it was a 40-hour week that these people worked, and during COVID, they were only working 15 hours. You know, they were only doing garbage and they weren't doing other jobs.
So,
And,
Vice
you know,
Mayor, Vice Mayor, to answer that question, so when the mayor and I sit down to determine what we're going to allocate for bonuses based on our savings for the current year, we looked at the performance and the devotion of the staff in its totality. So for instance, there are other considerations given to our staff throughout this year to help ease that burden, right? Whether it was administrative leave or working from home or only coming in 2 days. And so we feel that the bonuses that we've structured for this year adequately reflects the devotion of our staff. And I thank the council for the consideration that they're giving me outside of my contractual obligations. However, let me be clear, I will never say no to giving our employees additional consideration should this council choose to do that. I have gone to bat for our employees since day one. Every nickel and every penny that I could squeeze out to give them and help their families, I've done so. So I will never say no to that. So if the council wishes for us to look at, you know, an additional $5,000 or $7,000, whatever that number is, to reallocate to our staff in a manner which the Councilmember Bernstein has indicated and the Vice Mayor, I'm sure that the mayor and I can do that in an equitable and fair manner to the employees, that we would never turn that down.
And Alex, I guess I'm not, you know, I recognize that some people work harder than others and some people deserve it. So I'm not trying to say everybody deserves equal. When I look at the directors and almost all of whom are on this call, almost all of who were there for COVID testing, exposed themselves, and almost all their departments have been given raises that have increased, and they're taking less. You know, maybe I'm not seeing the full picture. Maybe they got higher salary increases over the past year or different things. I'm just saying it just looks to me unfair that all the people on this call, I guess.
Well, I guess the bottom line is, and we're dependent on the mayor and you on this, in light of the totality of the circumstances, the hours spent, the vacations that these people possibly had, the number of hours they worked this year compared to what they worked last year. If you feel that these bonuses were fair in light of all of those circumstances, that's great.
So I could tell you, the town manager and I, if you look at total bonuses spent this year, it is 80,000. What's the correct number, Alex?
It's 93,650.
93,650. Last year we spent 80,000 or 70 something thousand, I believe. So, you know, again, we're trying to stay within our budgeted amount that the town manager and I agreed on. And believe me, if we could pay the employees a lot more, we could. But again, everything has to be within reason. And the town manager and I went through, and I think that the amount that we allocated to the bonuses are sufficient based on our budget. That's just my opinion. So, you know, granted, again, we're trying to keep a balanced budget and trying to keep everything within reason.
Thank you.
Councilman Mandel or Councilman Luskin, you have any comments?
These employees of ours are like family, and I want to echo everything you said when you started this segment off, Mayor. They're family, they work hard, they've always gone the extra mile. They're all good people because the town manager makes sure of it. They've worked here for years. I, like you, would love to be able to give them more money. It's whatever the budget can be able to handle, but I think everyone is really appreciative of what they do, and we appreciate having them. I did have some questions like Councilman Bernstein did regarding some of the increases, and I called the town manager. We went through one by one any of the questions that I had, and I was satisfied when he was done. So hopefully in future years, we won't be hit as hard with COVID and everything else that's happening, and we can make up for it, make up for the past. But I think all the employees really know in their heart how much we care about them. And every resident feels the same way. They're in our homes, the sides of our homes, Public Works, the police, town hall closes, and who's here? The police taking care of us. So they're all good people. And
Mayor, Mayor, I'm sorry for interrupting Councilmember Luskin because you're breaking it out. I failed to mention something earlier, Mayor. and I haven't shared this with all the directors, but I wanted to make sure that the record is clear. Councilmember Bernstein and Vice Mayor Einstein, there is an executive order that the mayor and I have agreed to that is being passed out tomorrow morning to all of our executive team members. It's an additional executive benefit just for our directors to help recognize their efforts this past year. And so that executive order is being signed tomorrow. And staff, the reason, I want you to know that that executive benefit that's being afforded to you, most of you have already met with me one-on-one on what that is. It is where we took the money to allocate it to you. And that's not presented this evening. And all of our council members are getting that same email as it relates to a new executive benefits for all of our executives alike.
So that makes up for
Just
it.
so everyone knows, that's on top of the budget.
That's correct.
Budget amount. So
That's
that, yeah,
Yes, sir.
that puts us
That's correct.
way over the threshold. And again, Vice Mayor brings up a very good point. We are in some economic trying times, and I'm sure the residents want to be sure that we're spending our dollars wisely, and we are. And like I said in the beginning, the employees deserve every dime that they're getting. Okay, thank you. Again, well deserved, everybody. With that, we'll move on to discussion and direction items to the town manager. I see I have none. Vice Mayor Bernstein has none. Luskin has none. Councilman
Vice Mayor
Mandel-
Einstein.
I said Einstein.
You said Bernstein.
Einstein, Bernstein, same thing.
No.
Excuse me.
Bernard
I'm kidding.
Einstein, Ken Bernstein.
I'm
They
kidding.
sound similar.
Councilman Mandel, we addressed your issue.
Yes.
Councilman Bernstein, you have none. Town manager?
Mayor, council, just two quick things. We're going to be trying to coordinate with you either a workshop, actually it will be a workshop as it relates to high-speed internet and offerings in the community. So the clerk will be sending out an email trying to get some dates. It's important that you make yourself available to us. I'm going to try to do it in a manner that we can still use Zoom. I know that the attorney is working on that, but it is a very important topic that the community has asked that we look into, and we're going to be presenting some options to you. So keep an eye out for that. And again, all the dates that I mentioned earlier in my report. And on behalf of the employees, I want to thank you, and on behalf of all of our residents, all of our residents, thank you for your support and for your recognition this evening. Nothing else.
Town manager, on that meeting, because it's, can we do it that we could do it in person and separate enough that we can do it? It's just that there's a lot to go over, and you and I have met with them, and I think it's important that the council understands it. And I think that type of meeting, if it's just the council, we can separate in the room sufficiently enough. If everyone felt comfortable, do it. If they don't feel comfortable, I'm fine with it too. But
So I can't meet social distancing requirements in our chambers. However, maybe at the beach pavilion, we could do it there.
it's just a thought. If everyone's against it, we don't have to do it. Just you and I will talk about it, and you can ask the council members in privately. But with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you.